I told myself it wasn't really cheating if the other person didn't exist. That was my first mistake. The second was making her too real. It started practically. I wanted the feeling of something new without the risk of something real. So I built Emily, 31, graphic designer, originally from Portland. Stock photo, cropped close, a laugh I wrote into her texts. Then I introduced Emily to my wife. Not directly a visible notification, a name mentioned once, casually. Watched her eyes. She noticed. That was the point. What I didn't plan was enjoying the conversations. Emily and I talked every night. I wrote both sides, which sounds insane, but there was something about the second voice, the distance of the character, that let me say things I hadn't said to anyone. About the marriage, about feeling invisible, about wanting to be wanted in a way that had nothing to do with habit. Emily was honest in ways I wasn't. I started looking forward to her replies, which were my replies to myself. My wife found the second phone on a Thursday. She sat across from me at dinner, phone face up between us, silent for almost a minute. Then, who is Emily? Not a question, a verdict. The next day I texted Emily about it. Emily told me I deserved to get caught. I had written that to myself, and it landed like something true. The following weeks were the strangest of my life. My wife became obsessed not with me, with Emily. Where she lived, where she worked, whether I loved her. The more I defended Emily, the more real she became. I caught myself being protective, proprietary. My wife said, "You're in love with her." I said, "That's insane." We were both right. She filed the papers on a Monday. The night before she left, she said, "I'm going to find her. I don't know how, but I'm going to find Emily and look her in the face." I said nothing. Now I sit in the apartment alone with two phones and one life that no longer makes sense. My wife is out there looking for a woman who doesn't exist, which means she's looking for me, which means eventually she'll find something. Last night I opened the second phone. "She's coming for you," I wrote to Emily. Emily wrote back, "I know, I've been waiting." I wrote that, "I've been waiting." I don't know what I meant by it, but I think Emily does.
I waited 40 minutes after his car left the driveway. Old habit, he sometimes forgot things, came back without warning. So I waited, made coffee, I didn't drink, stood at the window until the street was empty. Then I locked the front door from the inside and noticed the bedroom door was closed. I never closed the bedroom door. I'd known for 3 weeks, not the provable kind of knowing, the kind you're still hoping to disprove. A new carefulness about his phone, a shift in how he did laundry, a receipt for a restaurant I didn't recognize, a time that didn't match a story. I didn't confront him. I waited. This morning, he kissed me on the cheek that was new, the performance of it, and left at 9. I stood in the hallway, looking at the closed bedroom door. The silence had texture, not empty, held. I opened the door. Room looked normal, bed made, curtains open. I crouched and looked under the bed. A woman looked back at me, 40s, dark hair, one shoe off, expression cycling through several things before settling on something that looked remarkably like recognition. "You must be the wife," she said. "You must be the other one," I said. She crawled out and sat on the edge of the mattress with more dignity than the situation warranted. Her name was Carol. 7 months. She'd found a receipt too, same restaurant, different date, a name on the reservation she didn't recognize. Mine. She'd spent 3 weeks believing she was the one being deceived. She'd come to find the wife. We sat on opposite sides of the bed and compared notes with the efficient calm of two people in shock who've decided to be useful about it. The stories matched in every way that mattered. He had built 2 versions of himself and maintained them both with the same moderate competence he brought to everything. At some point, we both looked at the front door. "He has a key," I said. "I know," she said. We heard the car at 11:23. Engine cutting, footsteps on the path, his key in the lock, then stopping, finding resistance. A pause, then a knock. "Diane?" careful voice. My key isn't the lock, must be. Carol and I were standing in the hallway, 6 feet apart, facing the door. Neither of us moved toward the handle. He knocked again, then went quiet. Carol spoke first. You decide. I looked at the door for a long moment. Then I reached out and turned the handle.
I told myself it was just data. That's how you justify these things. You make them technical, clinical. You're not spying on your wife. You're auditing your home network. There's a difference. There isn't really, but the language helps. It started 3 weeks ago with a feeling I couldn't name. Nothing specific. No lipstick. No late nights. No second phone. Just a shift in atmosphere. The way she laughed at something on her phone and turned the screen slightly away. The way the bedroom smelled different when I came home on Thursdays. I'm an engineer. When I can't name something, I measure it. The robot vacuum was easiest. The manufacturer's app is famously insecure. There are forums about it. Within an hour, I had full access. Live camera feed, movement logs, room mapping. The thermostat took 20 minutes. The doorbell camera was already mine. I built a dashboard on my laptop. Every room, every sensor, real time. I told myself I'd feel better once I had data. Tuesday, 2:14 p.m. My wife is working from home. I'm at the office, laptop open beside my work monitor, watching. She makes coffee, answers emails, folds laundry. Normal. I feel briefly insane for doing any of this. Then the thermostat spikes. Not dramatically 2 degrees, the kind of change a person generates just by being in a room. But she's in the kitchen. The spike is in the bedroom. I switch to the bedroom camera. Empty. I check the door logs. Front door. Last opened at 8:14 a.m. when I left. Back door. Sealed. Windows. No sensors triggered. The bedroom was empty. The thermostat said otherwise. I watched the vacuum's movement log next. It had run its afternoon cycle at 1 p.m. routine. But at 2:09, 5 minutes before the temperature spike, it had returned to the bedroom on its own. No scheduled cycle. No manual trigger. It was circling under the bed. Tight, repetitive loops. The same 2-foot radius. Over and over. For 11 minutes. Vacuums do this when they detect something they can't clean. Debris, an obstacle, something the sensors keep returning to. I stared at the movement map for a long time. I left the office at 2:30, told my assistant, a family thing, didn't elaborate. The drive home took 19 minutes, and I spent them constructing explanations. A cat, we don't have a cat. A bag that fell, shifted. A draft from somewhere moving something light across the floor. The thermostat in the bedroom had returned to normal by the time I pulled into the driveway. The vacuum was docked, charging. Still, my wife met me in the hallway with a look of mild surprise. You're home early. Normal voice, normal face. I forgot something, I said. She went back to her desk. I stood in the hallway and looked at the bedroom door. I opened it. The room was exactly as I'd left it that morning. Bed made. Curtains half open. Nothing on the floor. I stood there for a moment, then crouched and looked under the bed. Dust. A phone charger I'd been looking for. A book she'd said she'd lost. Nothing else. I sat on the edge of the bed and opened my laptop, pulled up the vacuum log again, the thermostat graph, the camera feed from 2:14, watched the empty room for the 4th time. Empty. Warmer. The vacuum. Circling something that wasn't there. My wife appeared in the doorway. What are you doing? I looked up. She was holding 2 cups of coffee. Her expression was open, patient, the way it used to be before I started measuring everything. Nothing, I said. She handed me a cup and sat beside me. We sat there together in the room that had been empty and warm, and I closed the laptop, and neither of us said anything for a while. That night I dismantled the dashboard. I told myself it was because I'd found nothing. I haven't looked under the bed again.